Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another episode of The Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys joining me for today's video. And guys, today we're going to be talking about the correct way to set the drag on your bait cast reel. I think this is one area that you don't see many videos on it, and this is super critical for a lot of different techniques and a lot of different reasons. So I'm going to show you guys how to correctly set your drag to maximize the efficiency of your reel. Also guys, big thank you out there to everybody that has taken the time to subscribe here to The Fishing Teacher. If you haven't done that, I'd like to invite you to do so. And also a quick reminder about our spring sale on my Solar Bat series sunglasses here, my RB2 and RB3 series. You can get them at 25% off during the spring sale. And also with a purchase over $100, you get a $30 grab bag full of things from Solar Bat. So I'll put the Solar Bat link in the description of the video if you guys would like to get a pair. It's much appreciated. Okay guys, let's talk a little bit about these drag systems on these bait casting reels here. Now, drags, there's a couple different things that a drag can do with the bait caster reel. There's two considerations with it. Number one is the hook set, and number two is fighting the fish. So a lot of people don't really equate a drag with hook set, but one of the things that you have to do when you're adjusting your star drag on your bait caster. And also guys, just a real quick, not really plug, but a little bit of info for you guys. If you guys are looking for a bait cast reel, this is the one I got from Tackle Warehouse. This is the Okuma X1000HA. You guys may have seen it. I went shopping for bait cast reels. This is the one I got from Tackle Warehouse. If you guys are looking for one, I'll put the link to this reel in the description. I absolutely love this thing. Freaking casts a mile, man. But anyway, okay, the star drag, as far as when you're setting the hook, this needs to be adjusted correctly, because what happens if say you're pitching and flipping a jig out there, a lot of times on a short line like that, when you set the hook hard on, pitching and flipping a jig or creature bait or whatever, if you don't have your drag tight enough, your spool is going to slip and you're not going to get a solid hook set. So anytime that you're using line pound tests that can handle the hook set, so basically anytime you're using like over 15 pound test line, it really helps if you have your drag a little bit tighter than normal out there, because slippage on a drag on a hook set will cost you fish. Now, if you're fishing a crankbait or some type of a retrieving bait, a topwater, something like that with treble hooks, it's not going to require that kind of a hook set, so you can get by with having your drag a little bit looser. And you actually want it a little bit looser. When you set the hook like on a crankbait or something, if your drag slips just a little bit, it doesn't really make any difference because it is a treble hook. You don't have to really penetrate a large diameter hook. So just make sure, based upon the lure selection and the line, that you set your drag for the hook set. Now, more importantly, guys, is setting your drag for when you're fighting a fish. Now, first of all, I want to tell you guys something right now. If you ever have to use your drag to fight, in other words, if you ever have to rely on your drag to keep a fish from breaking your line, you probably did not react quick enough. So first of all, what you need to do before you consider setting your drag for fighting a fish is realize that any time that you get a good sized fish on, and when you're reeling that fish to the boat and you see it's a good sized fish, and maybe that fish has not made a run yet, but it's getting ready to make a run, push your thumb bar, guys, and hold the spool with your thumb like that. That way, when that fish makes a run, you can control how much line you give the fish or how much tension's on the spool from your thumb. You don't have to rely on the inconsistency of a drag, because you don't, even on the best drags like this right here, you don't really know how much poundage on the drag is going to be needed in a correlation to how hard that fish is pulling, or keep it away from cover, or to keep your line from breaking. So get comfortable with pushing that thumb bar and fighting the fish with that thumb bar. But that given said, you always want to have a backup, because I've been fooled myself as much as I've done it. I've hooked big fish like that. And what happens a lot of times is on a big fish, if it makes a super fast, hard run, they will run so fast and hard and put so much pressure on the spool that you can't press your button. There's too much pressure on it here. So you're trying to press it and you can't get it. And if your drag's too tight, those fish are gonna break your line. So always make sure that you adjust your drag right here loose enough to not break your line versus the pound test. And this is just something that you sort of have to experiment a little bit. If you're fishing like 10-pound test line on your bait caster, you're going to want it pretty loose. You're going to want it where you can peel that line out pretty easy from the drag. But if you're using a little bit heavier line, like 15 or 20, you might be able to have it a little bit tighter to where if that fish makes that, unintended fast run, it's not going to break your line. So anyway, guys, the drag systems on a bait caster, it's something that you have to experiment a little bit, because there's factors, again, like line size, the size of fish that you're fishing for, the type of lures, the hook set, all that's factored into it. But the main thing, if I could give you guys one piece of advice on drags, is try not to rely on them too much. Try to use their thumb bar. Ideally, in a lot of situations, I put my drag pretty tight because I'm very confident in my ability to push that thumb bar most of the time. But then again, there are those times out there that they're just too fast for you, and you definitely don't want to have them too tight to break your line. So it's it takes a little bit of time on the water and experimentations, but that'll sort of give you a good foundation anyway. So hope it helps. We'll talk later.